Talk a little bit about the philosophy of the Alberta Conservation Association's approach when it comes to identifying and selecting ponds or small lakes that would be suitable for fish stocking.
Yeah, so we know the province of Alberta is, as we know, is a relatively dry province compared to Saskatchewan and perhaps Manitoba. So we have a limited number of opportunities and a limited number of ponds. But with having said that, we are really trying to find ponds to stock trout into for recreational angling. We're trying to find these ponds typically in areas that have urban density, so around the major centers, within an hour's drive from major centers. And once we've identified those ponds, then we have a process to assess those ponds in terms of water quality, in terms of the other species of fish which may or may not be present in those ponds, and bring all that information together to say, yes, this is a suitable candidate to stock trout into for recreational angling, or perhaps no, it's not a suitable candidate. So there's quite a bit of information that goes into it, but in general, that's how we approach it.
What are the sort of the checklist, if you will, in terms of, I guess, if a pond or a lake becomes available, is there a minimum size, a maximum size that works in terms and depth, I guess, in terms of a stock candidate?
Yeah, in terms of minimum size, the sweet spot is around a 4-hectare pond. So, and we work generally in hectares. So a 4-hectare pond is kind of the sweet spot. When they start to get very large, our largest pond we stock currently is 16 hectares, and that's Windsor Lake. Once they start to get, into that 16-hectare range, that's where you start needing more of a boat to fish them, and the shore angling becomes less attractive. But that 4-hectare size is really, really attractive for shore angling, and really is kind of the most bang for the buck in terms of size of the water body. We do stock some ponds that are in the 1 hectare or slightly under. Anything under really 1 hectare is quite small, and the opportunities become limited. In terms of depth, we want ponds to have enough depth that they maintain suitable water quality for the stock trout throughout the minimum of the summer season. And typically that's, 3-4 meters depth is what's needed there. If it's deeper than that, then it certainly is a good candidate as well.
You made an interesting point, and I think it's one that needs to be emphasized, and that is you are stocking these lakes, these ponds, for the benefit of anglers, not necessarily for the benefit of the fish in terms of creating a sustainable population. This is for the benefit of anglers of Alberta so that they can go out and enjoy an angling opportunity. Is that a fair statement?
No, that is completely fair. The fish we stock are catchable size, so 20 centimeters minimum. We hope that obviously in our ponds that they put on some growth in the summer and do get bigger. Sometimes our ponds have the ability to overwinter fish and produce larger fish. But in general, you're right. It's a put and take fishery with fish readily available. Our ponds, most of them have a liberal harvest, 5-fish limit, and they are intended for the put and take opportunity for the angler, for the public to enjoy.
And speaking of enjoyment and fish species, let's open this part of the conversation with the fact that the Alberta Conservation Association, I think, to my knowledge, for the first time in quite a while, is actually pursuing perch for this year and putting into some ponds. Talk a little bit about that program.
Yeah, that has been identified at higher levels within the AEP structure that more diversified fisheries and others increased number of species is desirable. And yellow perch are a species that have come up as one that we can do transfers to create some more perch fisheries. Right now, we're in the process of monitoring water quality at some recipient ponds, and we're also identifying some donor ponds to take perch from. Once we have those things identified, then we still have some regulatory hurdles with permitting to transfer the perch. And at this point, it's looking like our perch transfers are going to probably be next year, not this year. We have a few more hurdles to clear with the regulatory process before we can put the perch in. But we certainly identified 5 ponds as recipient ponds, and there's a number of ponds that could be donors, and we still have to get through that. But that is our desire, to create some more perch fisheries for the Alberta angler.
You talked about partnerships. Talk a little bit about working with Alberta Environment and Parks in terms of how you guys, I guess, share the workload.
Yeah, we as an organization that works very closely with Alberta Environment and Parks, we take on certain portions of fish stocking for Alberta Environment and Parks with our enhanced fish stocking. And we also work with things like this perch transfer as one of their priorities that we work on to deliver things like the perch stocking for the Alberta angler. So it is definitely a partnership where priorities are identified, and we work together to take to the finish line and ultimately benefit the Alberta angler.